I seem to be forgetting to do that a lot. I need to manually hit that go live button there. Okay, so the restream to YouTube is experiencing a little squirrely performance today. It's okay. What? Is that Lady Death? I hear a Lady Death. I think I do. Good morning, everyone. Yep, I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. I am starting to lose my voice. But that's okay. What do we need voices for anyway? I can't think of anything that they're good for. Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Galen. Good morning. There we go. We'll see how it goes. I got some coffee flowing through my veins. I got my lucky sweater on. I got a lot of good. I don't know what. I got a bunch of stuff. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be an awesome day, and I hope yours is too. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're stuck. I work from home mostly anyway. but I'm still counting the days. So yeah, it's getting there. It'd be nice if the states would all coordinate their shiznit, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah, we are gonna get through to the end. Oh, you missed the. Can't drink the coffee no more. Good morning, Rose. Good morning, Rose. Oh boy. So yeah, wow, we had a pretty fun night last night in the Halo. Good lord, yeah, Halo Wars 2. That's a lot of fun. Yeah, and you know what? I'm finding a lot more people who say that they like playing it. So maybe we should have some kind of tournament or something. I think that would be a cool idea. Yeah. Halo Wars 2 tournament. That'd be cool. And then we jumped into Halo, just a regular Halo 5, and that 3v3v3 is a ton of fun. Oh, that is so much fun, so much chaos. It's just like everyone against everyone. It's awesome. And then just plain old Warzone there as people work on their level 152s. But that was good. Didn't stay up too late. It's all good. Let's see. Is there any news today? Not really. There's a handful of voiceover auditions, and now 10 times as many, if not more, all auditioning for the same stuff. But that's okay. I didn't want that work anyway. Actually, yeah, but it's okay. Actually, but yeah, what I do need to do is, a couple of days ago, I started in my studio recording the Edgar Allan Poe experiment stuff there, which I was kind of a couple of weeks late in getting started on. But yeah, and today after the stream, I'll be popping back into the studio to record a couple more, and then a couple more tomorrow, and then the editing will start, and it'll all come together fairly fast after that. So that is where we are at there. Yeah, indeed. So what do we have? We got I've mentioned a couple of times. I'll mention it for those who don't know. But for the next couple of weeks, I am restreaming over to Twitch and YouTube. I don't have an audience over there really at all. Occasionally, people pop in. It's very hard to get going on those, but you never know. And with so many people just stuck at home or school's out and a lot of time on their hands that needs distracting there, I figured we may as well cast our net a little wider there. And even if it's only just one or two people who that we can keep entertained and a little bit more optimistic as the days go by, then yeah, sure, why not? It sounds like a good idea to me. Alrighty. Oh, we got a lot of auto hosts coming in. I, I, I get a lot of those. That's nice. This is your Zen time. Well, there we go. Yeah. Just going to chillax and relax. Oh, by the way, if anyone has suggestions for public domain movies for the weekend, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. I'm looking for good quality ones this time. A bit better than than what we saw this past weekend, Cosmos: War of the Planets. Good lord. I mean, it was okay. It was entertaining. It was entertaining, and I did like the twist ending. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, it's, if we can up our game there, I think that would be pretty cool. A good idea. A good idea. Let's see. Tonight, we'll be back with some gaming later tonight, of course. Tonight, starting with Batman: The Enemy Within, episode 4. And then, I don't know, we're going to need to take a little look into Gears and see what's up in there. We're down to playing Gears like twice a week now. Yeah. They're going to be pretty close to their next season, too, next operation. What about His Girl Friday? I don't think that's in the public domain, is it? Oh, it's from 1940. It is in the public domain. Alrighty. That's what we're watching this weekend then. I'm quite surprised. I'm gonna have to double check that page. Sometimes the first page you look at on the old search engine there is not always correct. It's up on archive.org. All right. Okay, His Girl Friday. His Girl Friday it is then. All right. That's a great suggestion. I had no idea. All right. There we go. All right. It sounds like you might have seen it already, though, so I don't know. Good morning, D-Cloud. Good morning, D-Cloud. Oh, and let's see. Where are we at? We got Boomin. Boomin's just joined us as well. Very nice, very nice. I think we're about ready to hop into it, though. We are. I think we got it. Who? Oh, we had that suggestion for. That was Lady Death that suggested that. Okay. All right. So yeah, tune in 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. His Girl Friday. Color me shocked. I was sure Columbia would have done something to get that back. All right. Oh yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and some of the movies are better than others. By the way, everything that we watch, I throw them in the super secret section there, out by Galen, just in case you need to rewatch anything. I mean, obviously, you can find them in various qualities around the internets as well. That's right. His Girl Friday on a Sunday. Yes. Yeah, a lot of fun. Let's see, what could... okay, let's... I think we should just maybe hop into our book. I think we've done all our... Oh, no, this is what I was going to say. Yeah, I'm not too good at the social media. Yeah, I do my Twitter thing and what have you. And I like Twitter because it's... It is what it is. But if you're enjoying the stream, if you have a social media platform of your choice, which you are quite proficient at, which you enjoy using, which you enjoy sharing with your friends, please, by all means, throw the channel link into there, and maybe let your friends know what you enjoy about the book club stream here so much. And maybe some of your friends might want to come along too. I don't know. But anyway, that would be doing me a huge favor, and I would appreciate that a lot. I would. But here we go. Let's let us get on with it. Where's our book thing? Here we go. No, that's not it. Oh, no, I'm totally looking at the wrong thing. What am I doing? There it is. No, there it's not. Why is it not showing? There it is. All right. It's always something weird. Always something weird. I think we're good to go. Okay, so this is what we're reading. We're reading... Righto, Jeeves, by P.G. Wodehouse. It's a very dry British comedy about an upper-class twit and his dubiously smarter butler, Jeeves. Together, they make a lot of bad decisions. And, so when we had ended last night, in an effort to boost the confidence of their friend Gussie Finknottle, who was too afraid to ask his to ask a girl out, Jeeves and Wooster spiked his teetotaling orange juice with a lot of gin, both of them individually. Spiking it. A lot of gin. Probably more gin than orange juice by the time he got to it. After which he was obviously rip-roaring drunk and embarrassed himself quite fully on stage while handing out prizes at a grammar school. Not sure it's going to end well. We will see. We will see. But and when we ended last night, we had they thought Mr. Finknottle must be coming in to be quite angry with them, but no, it is Tuppy. Tuppy's come on in. Tuppy is the husband of Angela. Angela is the one who got attacked by a shark, or as the husband thinks, maybe it was more just a flatfish, and his wife was panicking, which caused a big dispute. And Tuppy thinks Wooster has been putting the moves on his currently temporarily estranged wife. Good Lord. Yeah. It gets complicated. It's complicated. But here we go. Actually, we'll just back up a paragraph. And it was while I was still massaging the coconut, that's his head, and wondering what the next move was, that something barged up against the door, like the delivery of a ton of coals. "I think this may very possibly be Mr. Finknottle himself, sir," said Jeeves. His intuition, however, had led him astray. It was not Gussie, but Tuppy. He came in and stood breathing asthmatically. It was plain that he was deeply stirred. Chapter 18. I eyed him narrowly. I didn't like his looks. Mark you, I don't say I ever had much, because nature, when planning this sterling fellow, shoved in a lot more lower jaw than was absolutely necessary, and made the eyes a bit too keen and piercing for one who was neither an empire builder nor a traffic policeman. But on the present occasion, in addition to offending the aesthetic sense, this glossop seemed to me to be wearing a distinct air of menace, and I found myself wishing that Jeeves wasn't always so dashed tactful. I mean, it's all very well to remove yourself like an eel sliding into mud when the employer has a visitor, but there are moments, and it looked to me as if this was going to be one of them, when the truer tact is to stick round and stand ready to lend a hand in the free-for-all. Good morning, Desired. For Jeeves was no longer with us. I hadn't seen him go, and I hadn't heard him go, but he had gone. As far as the eye could reach, one noted nobody but Tuppy. And in Tuppy's demeanor, as I say, there was a certain something that tended to disquiet. He looked to me very much like a man who had come to reopen that matter of my tickling Angela's ankles. However, his opening remark told me that I had been alarming myself unduly. It was of a pacific nature, and came as a great relief. "Good morning, Lizard King." "Bertie," he said, "I owe you an apology, and I've come to make it." My relief on hearing these words, containing as they did no reference of any sort to tickled ankles, was, as I say, great. But I don't think it was any greater than my surprise. Months had passed since that painful episode at the drones, and until now he hadn't given a sign of remorse and contrition. Indeed, word had reached me through private sources that he frequently told the story at dinners and other gatherings, and when doing so, laughed his silly head off. I found it hard to understand, accordingly, what could have caused him to abase himself at this later date. Presumably he had been given the elbow by his better self. But why? Still, There it was. "My dear chap," I said, gentlemanly to the gills, "don't mention it." "What's the sense of saying, 'don't mention it'? I have mentioned it." "I mean, don't mention it any more. Don't give the matter another thought. We all of us forget ourselves sometimes and do things which, in our calmer moments, we regret. No doubt you were a bit tight at the time." "What the devil do you think you're talking about?" I didn't like his tone. Brusque. "Correct me if I'm wrong," I said, with a certain stiffness, "but I assumed that you were apologizing for your foul conduct in looping back the last ring that night in the drones, causing me to plunge into the swimming bee in the full soup and fish." "That's not that at all." "Then what?" "This Bassett business." "What Bassett business?" "Bertie," said Tuppy, "when you told me last night that you were in love with Madeline Bassett, I gave you the impression that I believed you. But I didn't. The thing seemed too incredible. However, since then I made inquiries, and the facts appear to square with your statement. I've now come to apologize for doubting you." "Made inquiries?" "I asked her if you had proposed to her, and she said, yes, you had." "Tuppy, you didn't." "I did." "Have you no delicacy, no proper feeling?" "No." "Oh. Well, righto, of course, but I think you ought to have." "Delicacy be dashed. I wanted to be certain that it was not you who stole Angela from me. I now know it wasn't." So long as he knew that, I didn't so much mind him having no delicacy. "Ah," I said. "Well, that's fine. Hold that thought." "I have found out who it was." "What?" He stood brooding for a moment. His eyes were smoldering with a dull fire. His jaw stuck out like the back of Jeeves' head. "Bertie," he said, "do you remember what I swore I would do to the chap who stole Angela from me?" "As nearly as I recall, you planned to pull him inside out." "And make him swallow himself, correct. The program still holds good." But, Tuppy, I keep assuring you, as a competent eyewitness, that nobody snitched Angela from you during that Cannes trip." "No, but they did after she got back." "What?" "Don't keep saying what. You heard." "But she hasn't seen anybody since she got back." "Oh, no? How about that Newt bloke?" "Gussie." "Precisely. The serpent Finknottle." This seemed to me absolutely gibbering. "But Gussie loves the Bassett." "You can't all love this blighted Bassett. What astonishes me is that anyone can do it. He loves Angela, I tell you, and she loves him." "But Angela handed you your hat before Gussie ever got here." "No, she didn't. Couple of hours after." "He couldn't have fallen in love with her in a couple of hours." "Why not? I fell in love with her in a couple of minutes. I worshipped her immediately we met, the pop-eyed little excrescence." "But, dash it, don't argue, Bertie. The facts are all docketed. She loves this newt-nuzzling blister." "Quite absurd, laddie, quite absurd." "Oh." He ground a heel into the carpet, a thing I've often read about but had never seen done before. "Then perhaps you'll explain how it is that she happens to be engaged to him." You could have knocked me down with a F. "Engaged to him?" "She told me herself." "She was kidding you." "She was not kidding me. Shortly after the conclusion of this afternoon's binge at Market Snodsbury Grammar School, he asked her to marry him, and she appears to have right-o'd without a murmur. There must be some mistake. There was. The snake Finknottle made it, and by now I bet he realizes it. I've been chasing him since 5:30. Chasing him? All over the place. I want to pull his head off. I see. Quite. You haven't seen him by any chance? No? Well, if you do, say goodbye to him quickly, and put in your order for lilies. Oh, Jeeves. Jeeves? Yes, sir. I hadn't heard the door open, but the man was on the spot once more. My private belief, as I think I have mentioned before, is that Jeeves doesn't have to open doors. He's like one of those birds in India who bung their astral bodies about. The chaps, I mean, who have gone into thin air in Bombay, reassemble the parts and appear 2 minutes later in Calcutta. Only some such theory will account for the fact that he's not there one moment and is there the next. He just seems to float from spot A to spot B like some sort of gas. Have you seen Mr. Finknottle, Jeeves? No, sir. Oh, no, this is, that's Tuppy. Have you seen Mr. Finknottle, Jeeves? No, sir. I'm going to murder him. Very good, sir. Tuppy withdrew, banging the door behind him, and I put Jeeves abreast. Jeeves, I said, do you know what? Mr. Finknottle is engaged to my cousin Angela. Indeed, sir. Well, how about it? Do you grasp the psychology? Does it make sense? Only a few hours ago he was engaged to Miss Bassett. Gentlemen who have been discarded by one young lady are often apt to attach themselves without delay to another, sir. It's what's known as a gesture. I began to grasp. I see what you mean. Defiant stuff. Yes, sir. A sort of, oh, righto, please yourself, but if you don't want me, there are plenty who do. Precisely, sir. My cousin George... never mind about your cousin George, Jeeves. Very good, sir. Keep him for the long winter evenings, what? Just as you wish, sir. And anyway, I bet your cousin George wasn't a shrinking, non-goose booing jellyfish like Gussie. That is what astounds me, Jeeves, that it should be Gussie who has been putting in all this heavy gesture-making stuff. You must remember, sir, that Mr. Finknottle is in a somewhat inflamed cerebral condition. That's true. A bit above par at the moment, as it were. Exactly, sir. Well, I'll tell you one thing. He'll be in a jolly sight more inflamed cerebral condition if Tuppy gets hold of him. What's the time? Just on 8 o'clock, sir. Then Tuppy has been chasing him for 2 hours and a half. We must save the unfortunate blighter, Jeeves. Yes, sir. A human life is a human life, what? Exceedingly true, sir. The first thing, then, is to find him. After that, we can discuss plans and schemes. Go forth, Jeeves, and scour the neighborhood. It will not be necessary, sir. If you will glance behind you, you will see Mr. Finknottle coming out from beneath your bed. And, by Jove, he was absolutely right. There was Gussie, emerging as stated. He was covered with fluff and looked like a tortoise, popping forth for a bit of a breather. Gussie, I said. Jeeves, said Gussie. Sir, said Jeeves. Is that door locked, Jeeves? No, sir, but I will attend to the matter immediately. Gussie sat down on the bed, and I thought for a moment that he was going to be in the mode by burying his face in his hands. However, he merely brushed a dead spider from his brow. "Have you locked the door, Jeeves?" "Yes, sir." "Because you can never tell that ghastly Glossop may not take it into his head to come—" The word back froze on his lips. He hadn't got any further than a bee-ish sound when the handle of the door began to twist and rattle. He sprang from the bed, and for an instant stood looking exactly like a picture of my Aunt Agatha has in her dining room. The stag at bay. Landseer. Then he made a dive for the cupboard, and was inside it before one really got onto it that he had started leaping. I had seen fellows late for the 9:15 move less nippily. I shot a glance at Jeeves. He allowed his right eyebrow to flicker slightly, which is as near as he ever gets to a display of emotions. "Hello," I yipped. "Let me in, blast you," responded Tuppy's voice from without. "Who locked this door?" I consulted Jeeves once more in the language of the eyebrow. He raised one of his. I raised one of mine. He raised his other. I raised my other. Then we both raised both. Finally, there seeming no other policy to pursue, I flung wide the gates and Tuppy came shooting in. "Now what?" I said, as nonchalantly as I could manage. "Why was the door locked?" demanded Tuppy. I was in pretty good eyebrow-raising form by now, so I gave him a touch of it. "Is one to have no privacy, Glossop?" I said coldly. "I instructed Jeeves to lock the door because I was about to disrobe." "A likely story," said Tuppy. And I'm not sure he didn't add forsooth. "You needn't try to make me believe that you're afraid people are going to run excursion trains to see you in your underwear. You locked that door because you've got that snake fink noddle concealed in here. I suspected it the moment I'd left, and I decided to come back and investigate. I'm going to search this room from end to end. I believe he's in that cupboard. What's in this cupboard?" "Just clothes," I said, having another stab at the nonchalant, though extremely dubious as to whether it would come off. "The usual wardrobe of the English gentleman paying a country house visit." "You're lying." Well, I wouldn't have been if he had only waited a minute before speaking, because the words were hardly out of his mouth before Gussie was out of the cupboard. I have commented on the speed with which he had gone in. It was as nothing to the speed with which he emerged. This was sort of a whir and blur, and he was no longer with us. I think Tuppy was surprised. In fact, I'm sure he was. Despite the confidence with which he had stated his view that the cupboard contained fink noddles, it plainly disconcerted him to have the chap fizzing out at him like this. He gargled sharply and jumped back about 5 feet. The next moment, however, he had recovered his poise and was galloping down the corridor in pursuit. It only needed Aunt Dahlia after them, shouting "Yoicks!" or whatever is customary on these occasions, to complete the resemblance to a brisk run with the corn. What is the corn? Doesn't say. A brisk run with the corn. I'm assuming it's some kind of private club, but that's also the brand name of the vegetarian meatballs that I get. Quorn. I'm just going to look this up real fast. What is it? Wiki. It's got a corn British club. It sounds like a British club. Corn hunt. Okay, yes, yeah, okay, yeah. The corn hunt, usually called the corn, established in 1696, is one of the world's oldest fox hunting packs. That's what it is. Yes. A long time since I've heard about that. All right, okay, so that's what they're talking about. All right, I'm with it now. Glad I looked that up. That's kind of weird. One of the most bizarre sports in the world. Fox hunting and my like one of my regular vegetarian meat substitutes is also called corn. It's spelled the same way. All right. Blah 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 blah. Okay, let's get on up here. Where are we at? Gotta get on up. Gotta get on up. Yes, yeah, okay. The next moment, however, he had recovered his poise and was galloping down the corridor in pursuit. It only needed Aunt Dahlia after them, shouting "Yoicks!" or whatever is customary on these occasions, to complete their resemblance to a brisk run with the corn. Fox hunting. I sank into a handy chair. I am not a man whom it is easy to discourage, but it seemed to me that things had at last begun to get too complex for Bertram. "Jeeves," I said, "all this is a bit thick." "Yes, sir." "The head rather swims." "Yes, sir." "I think you had better leave me, Jeeves. I shall need to devote the very closest thought to the situation which has arisen." "Very good, sir." The door closed. I lit a cigarette and began to ponder. Alrighty. I know it's the dude's just, oh boy. I'm sure he's like this in all of the rest of the books as well. Just like this like incompetent like nincompoop, just leaving a trail of destruction. He's kind of like I don't know. He kind of reminds me of like an upper crust Mr. Magoo or something like that. Just like blindly, just like walking through, just walking through life, totally fine by himself, but leaving a trail of destruction in every direction around him. So yeah. All right, let's oh, they're doing a live action Lady and the Tramp movie too. All right. Gotta do that. All right, get back to it in just a second. Gonna take a little sip of the coffee here, but we're making pretty good progress on this one here. Oh, by the way, in case anyone is wondering what book we're going to be reading next after this, it's going to be Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayers. It's supposedly a very, very good murder mystery. So yeah. All right, let's come on back. All right. Okay, a little more sip and pop right on in. If anyone has any questions about the book, by the way, I probably don't know the answer to it. I mean, but I'm happy to look it up. We can find out together, or about anything we do here. That's kind of the great thing about doing it as a cold read. Like, I mean, because I've read like nothing. Well, or if I have read them, it was like when I was 10, 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah, so it's pretty fun just to be able to like just plow on through into the book, essentially reading it for the first time and sharing that experience with people while working on my improv skills at the same time. Sometimes it works. I hope most times it works. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's right. I am the king. Wow, Desire and Rose, they're having smiley days. Smiley days. I like that sticker a lot, by the way, that smiley sun thing. Yeah. Hope that one stays around as one of the permanent ones. Alrighty. Okay, let's get back to it. Chapter 19. We're getting there. I don't know how far into the book we actually are, because this contains, like this particular Kindle file contains several books. Actually, let's take, how many books does it contain? Righto, Jeeves. Oh my lord. Okay, well, there we go. We're 19 out of 23. So
DesireX sent 50 embers with the message WHM scientist.
Well, thank you very much there, Desired. Yeah, the WHM Women's History Month. It is still Women's History Month. Nice, nice, nice. And thank you for that. Are you a scientist? Maybe. I don't know. So this particular file has a bunch of these. Leave it, righto, Jeeves. Leave it to Jeeves. Jeeves and the unbidden guest. Jeeves and the hard-boiled egg. You know, maybe some of these are short stories too, because it says, a lot of these must be short stories because it says we're 30% into it. So a lot of these must be short stories, I imagine. That is, you are not, but you are, woman. Hear her roar. Exactly. Oh, they got girl power stickers there. Nice. Okay, I didn't know they had that. Is that general? Is that a general mixer emoji? I know that. There's a lot more emojis coming, by the way. I know that they've redone most of these ones, and they're I believe they're adding more. Oh yeah, they've added some nice ones there. Yeah. And they're a bit of a bigger size too, which is nice, nice, nice. All right, okay, but that's neither here nor there. There we go. General mix, nice, very cool. I'm glad they added those. Yeah, apparently there's some more coming too. I have no idea when. My guess, since they've just revamped all of those emojis, they must still be. I would imagine they'll be coming soon because they have their artists doing it. Good morning, Chris. Chris Alberti is with us. How are you doing, man? How are you doing? Okay, there we go. One more. Okay, let's get back into it. Chapter 19 out of 23. Good lord. Actually, so for perfect timing, actually, we should do chapters 19 and 20 today, then that'll leave chapters 21, 22, and 23 for tomorrow. There we go. That'll be perfect timing. So we can do that. We'll be able to do that. Okay, so let's stop after chapter 20. And then we can fill up some time with some short stories and some kind of cool poems, maybe. If there's still, I don't think I'm all caught up on suggestions. I think I am. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's do it. Let's get on with story time. Most chaps in my position, I imagine, would have pondered all the rest of the evening without getting a bite, but we Woosters have an uncanny knack of going straight to the heart of things, and I don't suppose it was much more than 10 minutes after I had started pondering before I saw what had to be done. What was needed to straighten matters out, I perceived, was a heart-to-heart talk with Angela. She had caused all the trouble by her mutton-headed behavior, in saying yes instead of no, when Gussie, in the grip of mixed drinks and cerebral excitement, had suggested teaming up. She must obviously be properly ticked off and made to return him to store. A quarter of an hour later, I had tracked her down in the summer house in which she was taking a cooler, and was seating myself by her side. "Angela," I said, and if my voice was stern, well, whose wouldn't have been? "This is all perfect drivel." She seemed to come out of a reverie. She looked at me inquiringly. "I'm sorry, Bertie, I didn't hear. What were you talking drivel about?" I was not talking drivel." "Oh, sorry, I thought you said you were." "Is it likely that I would come out here in order to talk drivel?" "Very likely." "I thought it best to haul off and approach the matter from another angle. I've just been seeing Tuppy." "Oh?" "And Gussie Finknottle." "Oh, yes." "It appears that you have gone and got engaged to the latter." "Quite right." Well, that's what I meant when I said it was all perfect drivel. You can't possibly love a chap like Gussie. Why not? You simply can't. Well, I mean to say, of course she couldn't. Nobody could love a freak like Gussie except a similar freak like the Bassett. The shot wasn't on the board. A splendid chap, of course, in many ways, courteous, amiable, and just the fellow to tell you what to do till the doctor came, if you had a sick newt on your hands. But quite obviously not of Mendelssohn's March timbre. I have no doubt that you could have flung bricks by the hour in England's most densely populated districts without endangering the safety of a single girl capable of becoming Mrs. Augustus Finknottle, without an anesthetic. I put this to her, and she was forced to admit the justice of it. All right, then. Perhaps I don't. Then what? I said keenly. Did you want to go and get engaged to him for, you unreasonable young fathead? I thought it would be fun. Fun? And so it has been. I've had a lot of fun out of it. You should have seen Tuppy's face when I told him. A sudden bright light shone upon me. Ha! A gesture. What? You got engaged to Gussie just to score off Tuppy. I did. Well, then, that was what I was saying. It was a gesture. Yes, I suppose you could call it that. And I'll tell you something else I'll call it, viz. A dashed low trick. I'm surprised at you, young Angela. I don't see why. I curled the lip about a half-inch from my face. Being a female, you wouldn't. You gentler sexes are like that. You pull off the rawest stuff without a pang. You pride yourselves on it. Look at Jael, the wife of Heber. Where did you ever hear of Jael, the wife of Heber? Possibly you are not aware that I once won a scripture knowledge prize at school? Oh, yes, I remember Augustus mentioning it in his speech. Quite, I said, a little hurriedly. I had no wish to be reminded of Augustus's speech. Well, as I say, look at Jael, the wife of Heber, dug spikes into the guest's coconut while he was asleep, and then went swanking about the place like a girl guide. No wonder they say, "Oh, woman, woman." Who? The chaps who do. Cool, what a sex. But you aren't proposing to keep this up, of course. Keep what up? This rot of being engaged to Gussie. I certainly am. Just to make Tuppy look silly. Do you think he looks silly? I do. So he ought to. I began to get the idea that I wasn't making real headway. I remember when I won that scripture knowledge prize, having to go into the facts about Balaam's ass. I can't quite recall what they were, but I still retain a sort of general impression of something digging its feet in and putting its ears back and refusing to cooperate. And it seemed to me that this was what Angela was doing now. She and Balaam's ass were, so to speak, sisters under the skin. There's a word beginning with R. Something. Recall something. No, it's gone. But what I am driving at is what I am driving at is what the hell? But what I am driving at is oh yeah. But what I am driving at is what this Angela was showing herself. No, that's wrong too. But what I am driving at is that this is what this Angela... Okay, but what I am driving at is that this is what this Angela was showing herself. Was showing herself. Good Lord. Okay, but what I am driving at is that this is what Angela was showing herself. Silly young geezer, I said. She pinkened. I'm not a silly young geezer. You are a silly young geezer, and what's more, you know it. I don't know anything of the kind. Here you are, wrecking Tuppy's life, wrecking Gussie's life, all for the sake of a cheap score. Well, it's no business of yours. I sat on this promptly. No business of mine when I see 2 lives I used to go to school with wrecked. Ha! Besides, you know you're potty about Tuppy. I'm not. Is that so? If I had a quid for every time I've seen you gaze at him with the love light in your eyes— She gazed at me, but without the love light. Oh, for goodness sake, go away and boil your head, Bertie. I drew myself up. That, I replied, with dignity, is just what I am going to go away and boil. At least, I mean, I shall now leave you. I have said my say. Good. But permit me to add, I won't. Very good, I said coldly. In that case, tinkety-tonk. And I meant it to sting. Moody and discouraged were about the 2 adjectives you would have selected to describe me as I left the summer house. It would be idle to deny that I had expected better results from this little chat. I was surprised at Angela. Odd how you never realize that every girl is at heart a vicious specimen until something goes wrong with her love affair. This cousin and I had been meeting freely since the days when I wore sailor suits and she hadn't any front teeth, and yet only now was I beginning to get on to her hidden depths. A simple, jolly, kindly young pimple she had always struck me as. The sort you could more or less rely on not to hurt a fly. But here she was now, laughing heartlessly. At least I seem to remember hearing her laugh heartlessly, like something cold and callous out of a sophisticated talkie, and fairly spitting on her hands in her determination to bring Tuppy's grey hairs in sorrow to the grave. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Girls are rummy. Old Pop Kipling never said a truer word than when he made that crack about the F of the S being more D than the M. It seemed to me in the Cirques that there was but one thing to do, that is, head for the dining-room and take a slash at the cold collation of what Jeeves had spoken. I felt an urgent need of sustenance, for the recent interview had pulled me down a bit. There is no gainsaying the fact that this naked emotion stuff reduces a chap's vitality and puts him in the vein for a good whack at the beef and ham. To the dining-room, accordingly, I repaired, and had barely crossed the threshold when I perceived Aunt Dahlia at the sideboard, tucking into salmon mayonnaise. Oh, Lady Death, please don't tell me you're being stumped by a few letters. To the dining-room, accordingly, I repaired, and had barely crossed the threshold when I perceived Aunt Dahlia at the sideboard, tucking into salmon mayonnaise. The spectacle drew from me a quick, "Oh, ah," for I was somewhat embarrassed. The last time this relative and I had enjoyed a tete-a-tete, it will be remembered, she had sketched out plans for drowning me in the kitchen garden pond, and I was not quite sure what my present standing with her was. I was relieved to find her in a genial mood. Nothing could have exceeded the cordiality with which she waved her fork. "Hello, Bertie, you old ass," was her very matey greeting. "I thought I shouldn't find you far away from the food. Try some of this salmon. Excellent." "Anatole's?" I inquired. "No, he's still in bed, but the kitchen maid has struck an inspired streak. It suddenly seems to have come home to her that she isn't catering for a covey of buzzards in the Sahara Desert, and she's put out something quite fit for human consumption. There is good in the girl after all, and I hope she enjoys herself at the dance." I ladled out a portion of salmon, and we fell into pleasant conversation, chatting of this servants' ball at the Stretchley Buds, and speculating idly, I recall, as to what Seppings, the butler, would look like doing the rumba. It was not till I had cleaned up the first platter and was embarking on a second that the subject of Gussie came up. Considering what had passed at Market Snodsbury that afternoon, it was one which I had been expecting her to touch on earlier. When she did touch on it, I could see that she had not yet been informed of Angela's engagement. "I say, Bertie," she said, meditatively chewing fruit salad, "this Spink bottle—" "Nottle." "Bottle," insisted the aunt firmly. "After that exhibition of his this afternoon, Bottle, and nothing but Bottle, is how I shall always think of him. However, what I was going to say was that if you see him, I wish you would tell him that he has made an old woman very, very happy. Except for the time when the curate tripped over a loose shoelace and fell down the pulpit steps, I don't think I've ever had a more wonderful moment than when good old Bottle suddenly started ticking Tom off from the platform. In fact, I thought his whole performance in the most perfect taste." I could not but demur. Those references to myself, those were what I liked next best. I thought they were fine. Is it true that you cheated when you won that Scripture Knowledge Prize?" "Certainly not. My victory was the outcome of the most strenuous and unremitting efforts." "And how about all this pessimism we hear of? Are you a pessimist, Bertie?" I could have told her that what was occurring in this house was rapidly making me one. But I said no, I wasn't. "That's right. Never be a pessimist. Everything is for the best in this of all possible worlds. It's a long lane that has no turning. It's always darkest before the dawn. Have patience, and all will come right. The sun will shine, although the day's a grey one. Try some of this salad." I followed her advice, but even as I plied the spoon, my thoughts were elsewhere. I was perplexed. It may have been the fact that I had recently been hobnobbing with so many bowed-down hearts that this made cheeriness It may have been the fact that I had recently been hobnobbing with so many bowed-down hearts that made this cheeriness of hers seem so bizarre. But bizarre was certainly what I found it. "I thought you might have been a trifle peeved," I said. "Peeved?" "By Gussie's manoeuvres on the platform this afternoon. I confess that I had rather expected the tapping foot and the drawn brow." "Nonsense. What was there to be peeved about? I took the whole thing as a great compliment. Proud to feel that any drink from my cellars could have produced such a majestic jag. It restores one's faith in post-war whiskey. Besides, I couldn't be peeved at anything tonight. I'm like a little child clapping its hands and dancing in the sun. For though it has been some time getting a move on, Bertie, the sun has at last broken through the clouds. Ring out those joy bells. Anatole has withdrawn his notice." "What? Oh, very hearty congratulations." "Oh, Battlemaniac knows the TV show. You love Jeeves and Wooster." "Yeah, Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie, yeah." "Battlemaniac, I'm embarrassed to say, I didn't even know there was a TV show until I started reading this last week." I'm going to have to check it out. Yeah, I'm sure it's up on Netflix or something, yeah.
Anatole has withdrawn his notice."
What? Oh, very hearty congratulations."
"Thanks. Yes, I worked on him like a beaver after I got back this afternoon, and finally, vowing that he would ne'er consent, he consented. He stays on, praise be, and the way I look at it now is that God's in his heaven, and all's right with—"
She broke off. The door had opened, and we were plus a butler.
"Hello, Seppings," said Aunt Dahlia. "I thought you had gone."
"Not yet, madam."
"Well, I hope you will all have a good time."
"Thank you, madam."
Was there something you wanted to see me about?"
"Yes, madam. It is with reference to Monsieur Anatole. Is it by your wish, madam, that Mr. Fink Nottle is making faces at Monsieur Anatole through the skylight of his bedroom?" All right, so I think that's the first time we've heard Sepping say anything, but there we go. All righty, whoo. What is up? Oh, are you watching on the Xbox console there, Desired? Oh, excuse me. Good gracious. Can't believe that yawn sneaked out. Yeah, it was great here in the UK. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check it out. And I hope I'm doing the actual book series justice of some kind. At least it's been entertaining. So I hope you all are getting a little bit of a chuckle out of it too. Next book, by the way, once we finish this one, we'll be going into Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayers. A murder mystery. Supposedly very, very good. Very, very good. But yeah. So here's the plan. We're just about to start chapter 20. And that's going to be the last chapter we're going to do, because there's only 3 chapters left after that. So we'll get through to the end of chapter 20, and then we'll switch over to a couple of short stories to round out our day today. Yeah, nice. All right, just taking a quick little peek at something real fast. We'll get back to it in a minute, giving my voice a rest for 30 seconds. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm gonna start using this more. I need some like powdered creamer though in it. If I stick milk into my coffee in this like thermos thing, the milk just curdles. Yeah, so I got to get some like powdered creamer or something like that to throw in it there. Oh yeah, that's good. All right. Let's do it. Oh, just want to mention again, for those who don't know, actually, this won't apply to my Mixer friends, but yeah, due to there's a lot of people stuck at home right now, shall we say? Yeah. So for the next couple of weeks, yeah, I'm expanding the range of the stream. Normally it's just all Mixer all the time, but yeah, for the next couple of weeks. I'm restreaming right now over to YouTube and Twitch. Just in case, just in case there's a couple of people there who need something different to listen to tune into, to be distracted by, stop going stir crazy while we're all holed up. Yeah. So if you're over there on Twitch or YouTube, hey there. Yeah, we're mainly here over on Mixer, mixer.com/CarringtonTV. But you're welcome to come join us here. But we'll be seeing you for the next couple of weeks over there as well. And it's also just a little invitation for my friends there, just in case they need to mention the stream on their favorite social media channel, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what have you. Yeah, it's if you feel like letting your friends know about the stream there, yeah, feel free to drop it into chat. Let them know what you like about it. Let them know you enjoy, or at least somewhat vaguely entertained by live book narration. For better or for worse, we have a good time. Lady Death is on Twitch as well. Oh boy, oh boy. She's over there. She has just doubled my numbers. Doubled my numbers from the 1, which was me, to 2. I don't know why. I've never had any luck on Twitch. I couldn't get Twitch going to save my life. All right. I don't know. It's a very different crowd over here on Mixer. And it just took off. It just took off. It's been very interesting. Yeah, I almost never do it, Lady Death. Almost never do it. Because, I know. Like I said, it's no success. No success. Okay, but here we go. One more chapter of this, so that way tomorrow we'll have 3 chapters, making it a somewhat fullish day for tomorrow. Let's do it. Chapter 20. Okay, so what had just happened? Oh, yes, madam. It is with reference to Monsieur Anatole. Is it by your wish, madam, that Mr. Finknottle is making faces at Monsieur Anatole through the skylight of his bedroom? Okay, so that was her butler. That wasn't Jeeves, right? Chapter 20. There was one of those long silences. Pregnant, I believe, is what they're generally called. Aunt looked at Butler. Butler looked at Aunt. I looked at both of them. An eerie stillness seemed to envelop the room like a linseed poultice. I happened to be biting on a slice of apple in my fruit salad at the moment, and it sounded as if Carnera had jumped off the top of the Eiffel Tower onto a cucumber frame. Aunt Dahlia steadied herself against the sideboard and spoke in a low, husky voice. "Faces." "Yes, madam." "Through the skylight?" "Yes, madam." "You mean he's sitting on the roof?" "Yes, madam. It has upset Monsieur Anatole very much." I suppose it was the word upset that touched Aunt Dahlia off. Experience had taught her what happened when Anatole got upset. I had always known her as a woman who was quite active on her pins, but I had never suspected her of being capable of the magnificent burst of speed which she now showed. Pausing merely to get a rich hunting-field expletive off her chest, she was out of the room and making for the stairs before I could swallow a sliver of, I think, banana. And feeling as I had felt when I got that telegram of hers about Angela and Tuppy, that my place was by her side, I put down my plate and hastened after her, the Seppings following at a loping gait. I say that my place was by her side, but it was not so dashed easy to get there, for she was setting a cracking pace. At the top of the first flight she must have led by a matter of 6 lengths, and was still shaking off my challenge when she rounded into the second. At the next landing, however, the grueling going appeared to tell on her, for she slackened off a trifle and showed symptoms of roaring, and by the time we were in the straight we were running practically neck and neck. Our entry into Anatole's room was as close a finish as you could have wished to see. Result: first place, Aunt Dahlia. Second place, Bertram. Third place, Seppings. One by a short head. Half a staircase separated second and third. The first thing that met the eye on entering was Anatole. This wizard of the cooking stove is a tubby little man with a moustache of the outsize or soup-strainer type, and you can generally take a line through it as to the state of his emotions. When all is well, it turns up at the ends like a sergeant major's. When the soul is bruised, it droops. It was drooping now, striking a sinister note, and if any shadow of doubt had remained as to how he was feeling, the way he was carrying on would have dispelled it. He was standing by the bed in pink pajamas, waving his fists at the skylight. Through the glass, Gussie was staring down. His eyes were bulging, and his mouth was open, giving him so striking a resemblance to some rare fish in an aquarium that one's primary impulse was to offer him an ant's egg. Watching this fist-waving cook and this goggling guest, I must say that my sympathies were completely with the former. I considered him thoroughly justified in waving all the fists he wanted to. Review the facts, I mean to say. there he had been, lying in bed, thinking idly of whatever French cooks do think about when in bed, and he had suddenly become aware of that frightful face at the window. A thing to jar the most phlegmatic. I know I should hate to be lying in bed and have Gussie popping up like that. A chap's bedroom, you can't get away from it, is his castle, and he has every right to look askance if gargoyles come glaring in at him. While I stood musing thus, Aunt Dahlia, in her practical way, was coming straight to the point.
"What's all this?"
Anatole did a sort of Swedish exercise, starting at the base of the spine, carrying on through the shoulder blades, and finishing up among the back hair. Then he told her. In the chats I have had with this wonder man, I have always found his English fluent, but a bit on the mixed side. If you remember, he was with Mrs. Bingo Little for a time before coming to Brinkley, and no doubt he picked up a good deal from Bingo. Before that, he had been a couple of years with an American family at Nice, and had studied under their chauffeur, one of the Maloneys of Brooklyn. So, what with Bingo and what with Maloney, he is, as I say, fluent, but a bit mixed. He spoke in part as follows.
"A hot dog, you ask me what is it? Listen, make some attention a little. Me, I have hit the hay, but I do not sleep so good, and presently I wake, and up I look, and there is one who make faces against me through the dashed window. Is that a pretty affair? Is that convenient? If you think I like it, you jolly well mistake yourself. I am so mad as a wet hen. And why not? I am a somebody, isn't it? This is a bedroom, what not a house for some apes. Then for what do blighters sit on my window so cool as a few cucumbers, making some faces?"
"Quite," I said. "Dashed reasonable was my verdict." He threw another look up at Gussie, and at exercise 2, the one where you clutch the moustache, give it a tug, and then start catching flies.
"Wait yet a little. I am not to finish. I say I see this type on my window, making a few faces. But what then? Does he buzz off when I shout a cry, and leave me peaceable? Not on your life. He remain planted there, not giving any damns, and sit regarding me like a cat watching a duck. He makes faces against me, and again he makes faces against me, and the more I command that he should get to hell out of here, the more he do not get to hell out of here. He cries something towards me, and I demand what is his desire, but he do not explain. Oh, no, that arrives never. He does but shrug his head. What damn silliness! Is this amusing for me? You think I like it? I am not content with such folly. I think the poor mutt's a loony. Je me fiche de ce type infect. C'est idiot de faire comme ça l'oiseau. Allez-vous en lui fier? Tell the boob to go away. He is mad as some machetes."
I must say I thought he was making out a jolly good case, and evidently Aunt Dahlia felt the same. She laid a quivering hand on his shoulder.
"I will, Monsieur Anatole, I will," she said, and I couldn't have believed that robust voice capable of sinking to such an absolute coo. More like a turtle dove calling to its mate than anything else. "It's quite all right."
She had said the wrong thing. He did exercise 3.
"All right. Nom denum nom denum nom. The hell you say it's all right. Of what use to pull stuff like that? Wait 1/2 moment. Not yet quite so quick, my old sport. It is by no means all right. See yet again a little. It is some very different dishes of fish. I can take a few smooths with a rough, it is true, but I do not find it agreeable when one play larks against me on the windows. That cannot do. A nice thing, no. I am a serious man. I do not wish a few locks on my windows. I enjoy locks on my windows worse as any. It is very little all right. If such rangagazoo it is to arrive, I do not remain any longer in this house no more. I buzz off and do not stay planted.
Sinister words, I had to admit, and I was not surprised that Aunt Dahlia, hearing them, should have uttered a cry like the wail of a master of hounds seeing a fox shot. Anatole had begun to wave his fists again at Gussie, and she now joined him. Zeppings, who was puffing respectfully in the background, didn't actually wave his fists, but he gave Gussie a pretty austere look. It was plain to the thoughtful observer that this Finknottle, in getting onto that skylight, had done a mistaken thing. He couldn't have been more unpopular in the home of G.G. Simmons.
"Go away, you crazy loon!" cried Aunt Dahlia in that ringing voice of hers, which had once caused nervous members of the corn to lose stirrups and take tosses from the saddle. Gussie's reply was to waggle his eyebrows. I could read the message he was trying to convey. "I think he means," I said, reasonable old Bertram, always trying to throw oil on the troubled W's, "that if he does, he will fall down the side of the house and break his neck." "Well, why not?" said Aunt Dahlia. I could see her point, of course, but it seemed to me that there might be a nearer solution. This skylight happened to be the only window in the house which Uncle Tom had not festooned with his ballybars. I suppose he felt that if a burglar had the nerve to climb up as far as this, he deserved what was coming to him. If you opened the skylight, he could jump in. The idea got across. "Seppings, how does the skylight open?" "With a pole, madame." "Then get a pole. Get 2 poles. 10. And presently Gussie was mixing with the company, like one of those chaps you read about in the papers. The wretched man seemed deeply conscious of his position. I must say Aunt Dahlia's bearing and demeanor did nothing to assist toward a restored composure. Of the amiability which she had exhibited when discussing this unhappy chump's activities with me over the fruit salad, no trace remained, and I was not surprised that speech more or less froze on the Finknottle lips. It isn't often that Aunt Dahlia, normally as genial a bird as ever encouraged a gaggle of hounds to get their noses down to it, lets her angry passions rise. But when she does, strong men climb trees and pull them up after them. "Well," she said. In answer to this, all that Gussie could produce was a sort of strangled hiccough. "Well?" Aunt Dahlia's face grew darker. Hunting, if indulged in regularly over a period of years, is a pastime that seldom fails to lend a fairly deepish tinge to the patient's complexion, and her best friends could not have denied that, even at normal times, the relative's map tended a little toward the crushed strawberry. But never had I seen it take on so pronounced a richness as now. She looked like a tomato struggling for self-expression. "Well?" Gussie tried hard, and for a moment it seemed as if something was going to come through. But in the end it turned out nothing more than a sort of death rattle. "Oh, take him away, Bertie, and put ice on his head," said Aunt Dahlia, giving the thing up. Lady Death is back, eh? Hey, well, good morning, Halo Collector. And she turned to tackle what looked like the rather man-sized job of soothing Anatole, who was now carrying on a muttered conversation with himself in a rapid sort of way.
seeming to feel that the situation was one to which he could not do justice in Bingo cum Maloney Anglo-American. He had fallen back on his native tongue. Words like marmoton de dommage, pignou, hurleberlu, and roustiseur were fluttering from him like bats out of a barn. Lost on me, of course, because though I sweated a bit at the Gallic language during that Cannes visit, I'm still more or less in the est-ce que vous avez stage. I regretted this, for they sounded good. I assisted Gussie down the stairs. A cooler thinker than Aunt Dahlia, I had already guessed the hidden springs and motives which had led him to the roof. Where she had seen only a cockeyed reveller indulging himself in a drunken prank or whimsy, I had spotted the hunted fawn. "Was Tuppy after you?" I asked sympathetically. What I believe is called a frisson shook him. "He nearly got me on top of the landing. I shinned out through a passage window and scrambled along a sort of ledge." That baffled him, what? "Yes, but then I found I'd stuck. The roof sloped down in all directions. I couldn't go back. I had to go on, crawling along this ledge. And then I found myself looking down the skylight. Who was that chap?" That was Anatole, Aunt Dahlia's chef. "French?" "To the core." "That explains why I couldn't make him understand. What asses these Frenchmen are. They don't seem to be able to grasp the simplest thing. You'd have thought if a chap saw a chap on a skylight, the chap would realize the chap wanted to be let in. But no, he just stood there." "Waving a few fists?" "Yes, silly idiot. Still, here I am." "Here you are, yes, for the moment." "Huh?" "I was thinking that Tuppy is probably lurking somewhere." He leaped like a lamb in springtime. "Oh, what shall I do?" I considered this. "Sneak back to your room and barricade the door. That is the manly policy." "Suppose that's where he's lurking?" "In that case, move elsewhere." But on arrival at the room, it transpired that Tuppy, if anywhere, was infesting some other portion of the house. Gussie shot in, and I heard the key turn. And feeling that there was no more that I could do in that quarter, I returned to the dining room for further fruit salad and a quiet think. And I had barely filled my plate when the door opened and Aunt Dahlia came in. She sank into a chair, looking a bit shop-worn. "Give me a drink, Bertie." What sort?" "Any sort, so long as it's strong." Approach Bertram Wooster along these lines, and you catch him at his best. St. Bernard dogs doing the square thing by Alpine travellers could not have bustled about more assiduously. I filled the order, and for some moments nothing was to be heard but the sloshing sound of an aunt restoring her tissues. "Shove it down, Aunt Dahlia," I said sympathetically. "These things take it out of one, don't they? You've had a toughish time, no doubt, soothing Anatole," I proceeded, helping myself to anchovy paste on toast. "Everything pretty smooth now, I trust." She gazed at me in a long, lingering sort of way, her brow wrinkled as if in thought. "Attila," she said at length. "That's the name. Attila the Hun." "Eh?" "I was trying to think who you reminded me of. Somebody who went about strewing ruin and desolation and breaking up homes, which until he came along had been happy and peaceful. Attila is the man. It's amazing," she said, drinking me in once more. "To look at you, one would think you were just an ordinary sort of amiable idiot.
certifiable perhaps, but quite harmless. Yet in reality you are a worse scourge than the Black Death. I tell you, Bertie, when I contemplate you, I seem to come up against all the underlying sorrow and horror of life with such a thud that I feel as if I'd walked into a lamp-post.
Pained and surprised, I would have spoken, but the stuff I had thought was anchovy paste had turned out to be something far more gooey and adhesive. It seemed to wrap itself round the tongue and impede utterance like a gag, and while I was still endeavoring to clear the vocal cords for action, she went on.
Do you realize what you started when you sent that spink bottle man down here? As regards his getting blotto and turning the prize-giving ceremonies at Market Snodsbury Grammar School into a sort of too-real comic film, I will say nothing, for frankly I enjoyed it. But when he comes leering at Anatole through skylights, just after I had with infinite pains and tact induced him to withdraw his notice, and makes him so temperamental that he won't hear of staying on after tomorrow.
The paste gave way. I was able to speak.
What? Yes, Anatole goes tomorrow, and I suppose old poor Tom will have indigestion for the rest of his life. And that's not all. I've just seen Angela, and she tells me she's engaged to this bottle.
Temporarily, yes, I had to admit.
Temporarily be blowed. She's definitely engaged to him, and talks with a sort of hideous coolness of getting married in October. So there it is. If the prophet Job were to walk into the room at this moment, I could sit swapping hard-luck stories with him till bedtime. Not that Job was in my class.
He had boils.
Well, what are boils?
Dashed painful, I understand.
Nonsense. I'd take all the boils on the market in exchange for my troubles. Can't you realize the position? I've lost the best cook to England. My husband, poor soul, will probably die of dyspepsia, and my only daughter, for whom I had dreamed such a wonderful future, is engaged to be married to an inebriated newt fancier. And you talk about boils.
I corrected her on a small point. I don't absolutely talk about boils. I merely mentioned that Job had them. Yes, I agree with you, Aunt Dahlia, that things are not looking too ouja cum spiff at the moment, but be of good cheer. A Wooster is seldom baffled for more than the nonce.
You rather expect to be coming along shortly with another one of your schemes?
At any minute. She sighed resignedly.
I thought as much. Well, it needed but this. I don't see how things could possibly be worse than they are, but no doubt you will succeed in making them so. Your genius and insight will find the way. Carry on, Bertie. Yes, carry on. I'm past caring now. I shall even find a faint interest in seeing into what darker and profounder abysses of hell you can plunge this home. Go to it, lad. What's that stuff you're eating?
I find it a little difficult to classify. Some sort of paste on toast, rather like glue, favoured with beef extract.
Gimme,
said Aunt Dahlia listlessly. Be careful how you chew, I advised. It sticketh closer than a brother. Yes, Jeeves. The man had materialized on the carpet, absolutely noiseless as usual.
A note for you, sir.
A note for me, Jeeves.
A note for you, sir.
From whom, Jeeves?
From a Miss Bassett, sir.
From whom, Jeeves?
From Miss Bassett, sir.
From Miss Bassett, Jeeves?
From Miss Bassett, sir. At this point, Aunt Dahlia, who had taken one nibble at her whatever it was on toast and laid it down, begged us, a little fretfully, I thought, for heaven's sake to cut out the cross-talk vaudeville stuff, as she had enough to bear already without having to listen to us do our imitation of the two Macs. Always willing to oblige, I dismissed Jeeves with a nod, and he flickered for a moment and was gone. Many a spectre would have been less slippy. But what, I mused, toying with the envelope, can this female be writing to me about? Why not open the damn thing and see? A very excellent idea, I said, and did so. And if you are interested in my movements, proceeded Aunt Dahlia, heading for the door, I propose to go to my room, do some yogi deep breathing, and try to forget. Quite, I said absently, skimming P1. And then, as I turned over, a sharp howl broke from my lips, causing Aunt Dahlia to shy like a startled mustang. "Don't do it," she exclaimed, quivering in every limb. "Yes, but dash it, what a pest you are, you miserable object," she sighed. "I remember years ago, when you were in your cradle, being left alone with you one day, and you nearly swallowed your rubber comforter and started turning purple. And I, ass that I was, took it out and saved your life. Let me tell you, young Bertie, it will go very hard with you if you ever swallow a rubber comforter again, when only I am by to aid." "But dash it," I cried, "do you know what's happened? Madeline Bassett says she's going to marry me." "I hope it keeps fine for you," said the relative, and passed from the room, looking like something out of an Edgar Allan Poe story.
That's actually quite funny. Okay, but that's as far as we're going with Righto Jeeves today. Yeah, alrighty. We do have more stories. We're going to do more stories, but that's as far as we're going with this Jeeves and Wooster tale today. There's 3 chapters to go, so that's a good amount for tomorrow. That's a good amount for tomorrow. Yeah, if we did another chapter right now, it'd just be like almost, it'll be almost right at the end. Hey, good morning, Lightning. How you doing, man? Mr. Q-Tip actually caught some of it. Yeah, well, we got more to go. We're going to read a couple of short stories, though, because we still have a little bit more to go. So, okay, Q-Tip's joined us. Lightning has joined us. Hey, man. MC Glenn. Mick Glenn has joined us. Halo Collector. I saw Halo Collector pop in a little bit earlier. Good to see you again. Man. The max slots for what there, Halo Collector? Is there a max to the amount of money you can bet? I don't think so. And statistically, that's the best way of increasing, like, your money collection. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Well, my voice is epic. Well, thank you. That's very kind. That's very kind of you to say. Very kind. Now, if only. I need to get a hold of. I got to get my demos in. That's what I need to do. Okay. Been meaning to for a while, but there we go. Moneybags. Moneybags is with us. How you doing? Oh man, haven't seen the Moneybags in a bit. How you doing? Go big or go home. Exactly. Man. Okay. So here we go. Oh, by the way, that thing there which talks about the, it says, that's wrong. It says Death and Odysseus, track 10 is the latest one in there. That's actually wrong. Track 11 is already in there as well, which is Death and the Orange, which is a little bit of a weird one. It is a beautiful day today. I tell you what, it is really nice. It's really nice outside, and the craziest things are right now, I gotta say, the air quality is on point. It is Oh boy, I'm gonna miss that when everything is calmed down. That's for sure. Oh boy. But here we go. Let's take a little peek at what we're going on. Okay, so I'm just going to take a minute here to suck down a little bit of coffee. And then we're going to hop back into it. Well, actually, I think it's kind of funny. The dude here talks about... it literally, the last chapter ended on looking like something out of an Edgar Allan Poe story. So that's what we're going to do. Just give me a second. Let's go find something suitable in the end with Edgar Allan Poe. Let's do it. Why not? It sounds good to me. Got it sitting right here. The complete tales of Edgar Allan Poe. By special request, by the way, for World Poetry Day on last Sunday, I did do the Raven. So let's not do that. Not do that. All right. Let's look up the tales. If anyone has any ideas, by the way. For a shortish one, it can't be too crazy long. That life has returned when they lock humans down. Yeah, no, we try to find the silver linings everywhere, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, obviously, it's nice to have your friends with us still, though. So yeah, let's keep heading towards that direction. You saw the water? Yeah. Yeah, boy, I don't know. Well, yeah, it's been interesting. Okay, so here we go. What do we need to do? Oh, we got to read something cool. Let's see. The Fall of the House of Usher. A lot of these are just like way too long. Some of them are just kind of bizarre. Murders in the Rue Morgue. We've never read that, but that's too long for something right now. It's actually kind of a long, short story. Who's Marie Roget? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. No, it's too long. 50 odd stuff. That sounds good, though. The Mystery of Marie Roget. I have to do that later. We're not doing the Mask of the Red Death. Too on point for current events. We did the Telltale Hearts somewhat recently. We'll skip that one. It's the Oblong Box. Oh yeah, no, we read that one somewhat recently too. The Premature Burial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Huh, interesting. All right. I'm trying to, just give me a second here. The 1002nd Tale of Scheherazade. Too long? We've read The Cask of Amontillado, though. Some Words with a Mummy. What's this about? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Too long. Okay, coming back. The Fall of the House of Usher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3. There we go. This was the Devil in the Belfry. Alright. This is it. The Devil in the Belfry. I don't know if we've ever read this one. It does not sound familiar. One second. Let's change our scene real fast. Back to our book. And oh, let me just change our stream title as well. You know what? I'm not sure I'm going to be hitting the studio after this. Yeah, I got this thing in my throat, which is just not quitting. All right. Let's see. QR. Is this? No, wrong. Open the wrong one. Wrong file. Main audience page. Here we go. Okay, we're just going to read this. I have no idea if this is any good or not, but I just figured why not end with some Edgar Allan Poe. The Devil in the Belfry, because that's where Jeeves and Wooster ended. Edgar Allan Poe. Let's try this one. I don't know the story. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. Some of his stories are kind of weird. More weird than scary. Allergies from the fresh air. Ah, well, that's just the pollen doing its thing. Okay, lightning's back in a minute. He's got a dry cough. Keep a close eye on that, Rose. Alrighty. The Devil in the Belfry. It's up there, Milk Mister. What's up? You changed your name. Your name was Ghost. Oh, yes. How you doing? That's an interesting... yeah, well, boy. Why'd you change the name? Nothing wrong with Ghost. I suppose we all got preferences, though. You're doing well, and you don't know. All right, fair enough. That's how I go through life. I don't know. That's me every day. Every day. All right. Let's pop into our thing here. Let's do it. Felt a bit edgy. Oh, okay. All right. Well, cool. I mean, if you're happy with your new name, well, there we go. That's all that matters. Yeah. It will take a little bit of getting used to. I'll probably forget. But that's okay. It just means we've met anew. Okay, this is going to be our last story of the day, and we'll continue with Jeeves and Wooster tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, though, here we go. We're going to end our stream. Every day I'm shuffling. The Devil in the Belfry. What o'clock is it? Old saying. Everybody knows, in a general way, that the finest place in the world is, or alas was, the Dutch borough of Vondervottemitis. Yet, as it lies some distance from any of the main roads, being in a somewhat out-of-the-way situation, there are perhaps very few of my readers who have ever paid it a visit. For the benefit of those who have not, therefore, it will be only proper that I should enter into some account of it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. There we go. For the benefit of those who have not visited it, therefore, it will be only proper that I should enter into some account of it. And this is indeed the more necessary, as with the hope of enlisting public sympathy in behalf of the inhabitants, I design here to give a history of the calamitous events which have so lately occurred within its limits. No one who knows me will doubt that the duty, thus self-imposed, will be executed to the best of my ability, with all that rigid impartiality, all that cautious examination into facts, and diligent collation of authorities, which should ever distinguish him who aspires to the title of historian. By the united aid of medals, manuscripts, and inscriptions, I am enabled to say positively that the borough of Vondervottemitis has existed from its origin in precisely the same condition which it at present preserves. Of the date of this origin, however, I grieve that I can only speak with that species of indefinite definiteness which mathematicians are, at times, forced to put up with in certain algebraic formula. The date, I may thus say, in regard to the remoteness of its antiquity, cannot be less than any assignable quantity whatsoever. Touching the derivation of the name Vondervottamitis. Hang on, let's do that again. Vondervottamitis. Okay. Touching the derivation of the name of Vondervottamitis, I confess myself, with sorrow, equally at fault. Among a multitude of opinions upon this delicate point, some acute, some learned, some sufficiently the reverse, I am able to select nothing which ought to be considered satisfactory. Perhaps the idea of Grogswig, nearly coincident with that of Crutaplenty, is to be cautiously preferred. It runs Vondervottamitis, Vonda, Legadonda, Vottamitis, quasi und Bletzitz Absol pro Blitzen. This derivative, to say the truth, is still countenanced by some traces of the electric fluid evident on the summit of the steeple of the house of the town council. I do not choose, however, to commit myself on a theme of such importance, and must refer the reader, desirous of information, to the Horatiunculae de Rebus Praetor Veterus of Dunderguts. Good Lord! I don't know if this is a good story or not. See also a Blunderbuzzard de Derivation Ibus, pages 27 to 5010, folio Gothic edition. I think this might be a little tongue in cheek. This one, because like he's doing all this research, finding nothing.
500 embers with the message excited cat.
Yeah, wow. I'm excited about that kind of stuff too. Thank you very much, Rose. Ooh, look at them embers fly. I like that. It's a very cool Cheshire cat. Thank you. Wow, Rose enjoying the show. I like that. Yeah. So it definitely sounds like this is some kind of parody, maybe. So I mean, he's talking about all this research that he's doing, and he says, from everything that I've managed to look up, it looks exactly like it's always looked. The date of it, the date of its founding is some number. Oh no, I didn't mean to hit search Wikipedia. One second. Over we go. The derivation of the name. There are opinions. Some quite on point. Some more educated guesses, and some just made up garbage. He's not able to find anything on it. I'm pretty sure this is like some kind of satire. And so he's talking about his research here. He's just like, oh yeah. So here's the footnote. So you also see Blunderbuzzer pages 27 to 5010. And I mean that's just like it's like telling you to do your own research. Good Lord. Oh well, here we go. Okay, all right. Wherein consult also marginal notes in the autograph of Stuffenpuff with the sub-commentaries of Grunten Guzell. This has to be a parody of some kind.
Dougie Fresh 261 sent 50 embers with the message spilled tea.
Dougie Fresh piling on into the ember train too. Well, thank you, Dougie Fresh. Wow. I'm beginning to like Tuesdays. Indeed, I am. Yeah. Well, thank you, Rose Morales, Dougie Fresh. You can type messages into those into those ember boxes too. There, you can actually pack quite a lot into those message boxes there. I just wanted to mention that in case you didn't know it. But thank you. Okay, let's get on with our really bizarre story. This is okay. Notwithstanding the obscurity which thus envelops the date of the foundation of Vondervottemitis, and the derivation of its name, there can be no doubt, as I said before, that it has always existed as we find it at this epoch. The oldest man in the borough can remember not the slightest difference in the appearance of any portion of it, and indeed the very suggestion of such a possibility is considered an insult. The site of the village is in a perfectly circular valley, about 1/4 of a mile in circumference, and entirely surrounded by gentle hills, over whose summit the people have never yet ventured to pass. For this they assign the very good reason that they do not believe that there is anything at all on the other side. Round the skirts of the valley, which is quite level and paved throughout with flat tiles, extends a continuous row of 60 little houses. These, having their backs on the hills, must look, of course, to the center of the plain, which is just 60 yards from the front door of each dwelling. Every house has a small garden before it, with a circular path, a sundial, and 24 cabbages. Edgar Allan Poe, what are you doing? The buildings themselves are so precise.
Tillable Cat 8011 sent 100 embers with the message, Crown, unhelpful message for King Carrington as follows. Hi.
Okay. Well, there we go. Oh, thank you, Tillable Cat. I like all the unhelpful messages that I can get. Thank you. And thank once again for sending the crown. That's right. King Carrington. I am the king. I am. Very nice. Thank you. Wow. I need to read. I think I need to read more bad stories by Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah. The buildings themselves are so precisely alike that one can in no manner be distinguished from the other. Owing to the vast antiquity, the style of architecture is somewhat odd, but it is not for the reason the less strikingly picturesque. They are fashioned of hard-burned little bricks, red, with black ends, so that the walls look like a chessboard upon a great scale. The gables are turned to the front, and there are cornices as big as all the rest of the house, over the eaves and over the main doors. The windows are narrow and deep, with very tiny panes and a great deal of sash. On the roof is a vast quantity of tiles with long, curly ears. The woodwork throughout is of a dark hue, and there is much carving about it, with but a trifling variety of pattern, for, time out of mind, the carvers of Vondervottemitis have never been able to carve more than 2 objects, a timepiece and a cabbage. But these do exceedingly well, and intersperse them with singular ingenuity wherever they find room for the chisel. Okay, so what's going on with the cabbages? It's good to be the king. Little Mel Brooks action, yeah. I don't know. Okay, so every house has a garden with exactly 24 cabbages, and in all the carvings on the house, will either be clocks or cabbages. I don't know. The dwellings are as much alike inside as out, and the furniture is all upon one plan. The floors are of square tiles, the chairs and tables of black-looking wood with thin, crooked legs and puppy feet. The mantelpieces are wide and high, and have not only timepieces and cabbages sculptured over the front, but a real timepiece, which makes a prodigious ticking on the top in the middle, with a flower-pot containing a cabbage, standing on each extremity by way of outrider. Between each cabbage and the timepiece, again, is a little china man, having a large stomach with a great round hole in it, through which is seen the dial-plate of a watch. The fireplaces are large and deep, with fierce, crooked-looking fire-dogs. There is constantly a rousing fire, and a huge pot over it, full of sauerkraut and pork, to which the good woman of the house is always busy in attending. She is a little, fat old lady, with blue eyes and a red face, and wears a huge cap like a sugar loaf. ornamented with purple and yellow ribbons. Her dress is of orange-colored linsey-woolsey, and made very full behind, and very short in the waist, and indeed very short in other respects, not reaching below the middle of her leg. This is somewhat thick, and so are her ankles, but she has a fine pair of green stockings to cover them. Her shoes, of pink leather, are fastened each with a bunch of yellow ribbons, puckered up in the shape of a cabbage. In her left hand she has a little heavy Dutch watch. In her right she wields a ladle for the sauerkraut, which is cabbage, and pork. By her side there stands a fat tabby cat with a gilt toy repeater tied to its tail, which the boys have fastened there by way of a quiz. The boys themselves are, all three of them, in the garden, attending the pig. They are each 2 feet in height. They have 3 cornered cocked hats, purple waistcoats reaching down to their thighs, buckskin knee breeches, red stockings, heavy shoes with big silver buckles, long surtout coats with large buttons of mother-of-pearl. Each, too, has a pipe in his mouth and a little dumpy watch in his right hand. He takes a puff, and a look, and then a look, and then a puff. These are the boys. Okay. The pig, which is corpulent and lazy, is occupied now in picking up the stray leaves that fall from the cabbages, and now in giving a kick behind at the gilt repeater, which the urchins have also tied to his tail in order to make him look as handsome as the cat. Right at the front door, in a high-backed, leather-bottomed armchair, with crooked legs and puppy feet like the tables, is seated the old man of the house himself. He is an exceedingly puffy little old gentleman, with big circular eyes and a huge double chin. His dress resembles that of the boys, and I need say nothing farther about it. All the difference is that his pipe is somewhat bigger than theirs, and he can make a greater smoke. Like them, he has a watch, but he carries his watch in his pocket. To say the truth, he has something of more importance than a watch to attend to, and what that is I shall presently explain. He sits with his right leg upon his left knee, wears a grave countenance, and always keeps one of his eyes, at least, resolutely bent upon a certain remarkable object in the center of the plain. This object is situated in the steeple of the house of the town council. The town council are all very little, round, oily, intelligent men, with big saucer eyes and fat double chins, and have their coats much longer and their shoe buckles much bigger than the ordinary inhabitants of Fondafotomitis. Since my sojourn in the borough, they have had several special meetings, and have adopted these 3 important resolutions. That it is wrong to alter the good old course of things. That there is nothing tolerable out of Fondafotomitis. And that we will stick by our clocks and our cabbages. Above the session-room of the council is the steeple, and in the steeple is the belfry, where exists, and has existed time out of mind, the pride and wonder of the village, the great clock of the borough of Fondafotomitis. And this is the object to which the eyes of the old gentlemen are turned, who sit in the leather-bottomed armchairs. The great clock has 7 faces, 1 in each of the 7 sides of the steeple, so that it can be readily seen from all quarters. Its faces are large and white, and its hands heavy and black. There is a belfryman, whose sole duty is to attend it, but this duty is the most perfect of sinecures. What does that mean, sinecure? A position requiring little or no work, but giving the holder status or financial benefit. Ah, like corporate boards of directors. Yes, 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 yes. A position requiring little or no work but giving the holder status or financial benefit. Sinecure. There is a belfryman whose sole duty is to attend it, but this duty is the most perfect of sinecures, for the clock of von der Vottemitis was never yet known to have anything the matter with it. Until lately, the bare supposition of such a thing was considered heretical. From the remotest part of antiquity, to which the archives have reference, the hours have been regularly struck by the big bell. And, indeed, the case was just the same with all the other clocks and watches in the borough. Never was such a place for keeping the true time. When the large clapper thought proper to say 12 o'clock, all its obedient followers opened their throats simultaneously and responded like a very echo. In short, the good burghers were fond of their sauerkraut, but then they were proud of their clocks. Good morning, Morbid Curiosity. All people who hold sinecure offices are held in more or less respect, and as the belfryman of von der Vottemitis has the most perfect of sinecures, he is the most perfectly respected of any man in the world. He is the chief dignitary of the borough, and the very pigs look up to him with a sentiment of reverence. His coat-tail is very far longer, his pipe, his shoe, buckles, his eyes, and his stomach very far bigger than those of any other old gentleman in the village. And as to his chin, it is not only double, but triple. I have thus painted the happy estate of von der Vottemitis. Alas, that is so fair a picture should ever experience a reverse. There has been long a saying among the wisest inhabitants that no good can come from over the hills, and it really seemed that the words had in them something of the spirit of prophecy. It wanted 5 minutes of noon on the day before yesterday, when there appeared a very odd-looking object on the summit of the ridge of the eastward. Such an occurrence, of course, attracted universal attention, and every little old gentleman who sat in a leather-bottomed armchair turned one of his eyes with a stare of dismay upon the phenomenon, still keeping the other upon the clock in the steeple. By the time that it wanted only 3 minutes to noon, the droll object in question was perceived to be a very diminutive, foreign-looking young man. He descended the hills at a great rate, so that everybody had soon a good look at him. He was really the most finicky little personage that had ever been seen in von der Vottemitis. His countenance was of a dark snuff color, and he had a long hooked nose, pea eyes, a wide mouth, and an excellent set of teeth, which latter he seemed anxious of displaying, as he was grinning from ear to ear. What with mustachios and whiskers, there was none of the rest of his face to be seen. His head was uncovered, and his hair neatly done up in papillotes. Little butterfly designs, maybe? You know what? I just noticed I don't know what's wrong with with my pixel chat. It's just not working. I mean, some stuff does. But events list, refresh. Maybe it'll pop up in a minute. Just hit the refresh. Okay, so sorry, let's get back to our book. So it's a little... Yeah, it's been a little squirrely the past few days. Blah blah. Okay, and papillotes. What's that? No definition. Okay. And his hair neatly done up in papillotes. His dress was a tight-fitting, swallow-tailed black coat, from one of whose pockets dangled a vast length of white handkerchief. Black kerseymere knee breeches, black stockings, and stumpy-looking pumps, kerseymere's fine twilled woolen cloth.
and stumpy-looking pumps with huge bunches of black satin ribbon for bows. Under one arm he carried a huge chapeau de bras, a hat of what? Chapeau de bras. Okay, I'm just going to look that up real fast. Wow, okay, Edgar Allan Poe is chapeau de bras. Is a, oh, it's a funky looking hat. Yeah, it's kind of like a yeah, kind of like a French general hat kind of thing, right? Except used by the used by the church. All right. Okay, we're back to it. Edgar Allan Poe making me look up stuff. Under one arm he carried a huge chapeau de bras, and under the other a fiddle nearly 5 times as big as himself. In his left hand was a gold snuff-box, from which, as he capered down the hill, cutting all manner of fantastic steps, he took snuff incessantly with an air of the greatest possible self-satisfaction. God bless me, here was a sight for the honest burghers of Vondervottemitus. To speak plainly, the fellow had, in spite of his grinning, an audacious and sinister kind of face, and as he curvetted right into the village, the old stumpy appearance of his pumps excited no little suspicion, and many a burgher who beheld him that day would have given a trifle for a peep beneath the white cambric handkerchief which hung so obtrusively from the pocket of his swallow-tailed coat. But what mainly occasioned a righteous indignation was that the scoundrelly popinjay, while he cut a fandango here and a whirligig there, did not seem to have the remotest idea in the world of such a thing as keeping time in his steps. The good people of the borough had scarcely a chance, however, to get their eyes thoroughly open when, just as it wanted half a minute of noon, the rascal bounced, as I say, right into the midst of them, gave a chassé here and a balancé there, and then, after a pirouette and a pas de zephyr, pigeon-winged himself right up into the belfry of the house of the town council, where the wonder-stricken belfry man sat smoking in a state of dignity and dismay. But the little chap seized him at once by the nose, gave it a swing and a pull, clapped the big chapeau de bras upon his head, knocked it down over his eyes and mouth, and then, lifting up the big fiddle, beat him with it so long and soundly that, what with the belfry man being so fat and the fiddle being so hollow, you would have sworn that there was a regiment of double-bass drummers all beating the devil's tattoo up in the belfry of the steeple of Vondervottemitus. There is no knowing to what desperate act of vengeance this unprincipled attack might have aroused the inhabitants, but for the important fact that it was now wanted only half a second of noon. The bell was about to strike, and it was a matter of absolute and preeminent necessity that everybody should look well at his watch. It was evident, however, that just at this moment the fellow in the steeple was doing something that he had no business to do with the clock. But as it now began to strike, nobody had any time to attend to his manoeuvres, for they all had to count the strokes of the bell as it sounded. 1, said the clock. Von, echoed every little old gentleman in every leather-bottomed armchair in Vondervottemitus. Von, said his watch also. Von, said the watch of his vrouw. And Von, said the watches of the boys, and the little gilt repeaters on the tails of the cat and pig. 2, continued the big bell, and do, repeated all the repeaters. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Dougie Fresh
8.
261 sent 100 embers with the message, Boss Goat, wish I could support more but I love what you're doing here. Not enough people read any more crying face.
Well, thank you very much, Dougie Fresh. I really do appreciate it, and yeah, don't yeah, it's all good. We all do what we can, and that is looking excellent to me. Thank you. I do appreciate that. But yeah, you know, I really am surprised that there aren't more book readers here on Mixer. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one. It'd be nice to see more. There's even a subcategory ready for it's literally called reading. It's a subcategory of creative, and if there were more, if there were actually more readers there doing their thing, we could actually start using that, and that would be cool. But anyway, thank you once again, Dougie Fresh. Thank you. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, said the bell. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, answered the others. 11, said the big one. 11, assented the little ones. 12, said the bell. 12, they replied, perfectly satisfied, and dropping their voices. Und 12 it is, said all the little old gentlemen, putting up their watches. But the big bell had not done with them yet. 13, said he. Der Teufel! That means the devil in German, maybe Dutch, but definitely in German, gasped the little old gentleman, turning pale, dropping their pipes, putting down all their right legs from over their left knees. Der Teufel, groaned they. 13, 13, mein Gott, it is 13 o'clock. Excuse me. Why attempt to describe the terrible scene which ensued? All Vonderfottemitis flew at once into a lamentable state of uproar. What has come to mein Pally? Roared all the boys. I've been hungry for this hour. What has come to mein Kraut? Screamed all the vrouws. It has been done to rags for this hour. What has come to mein pipe? Swore all the little old gentlemen. Donder and Blitzen, it's been smoked out for this hour. Thunder and Blitzen, thunder and lightning, eh? And they filled them up again in a great rage, and sinking back into their armchairs, puffed away so fast and fiercely that the whole valley was immediately filled with impenetrable smoke. Meantime, the cabbages all turned very red in the face, and it seemed as if old Nick himself had taken possession of everything in the shape of a timepiece. The clocks carved upon the furniture took to dancing as if bewitched, while those upon the mantelpieces could scarcely contain themselves for fury, and kept such a continual striking of 13, and such a frisking and wriggling of their pendulums as was really horrible to see. But worse than all, neither the cats nor the pigs could put up any longer with the behavior of the little repeaters tied to their tails, and resented it by scampering all over the place, scratching and poking and squeaking and screeching and caterwauling and squalling and flying into the faces and running under the petticoats of the people, and creating altogether the most abominable din and confusion which it is possible for a reasonable person to conceive. And to make matters still more distressing, the rascally little scapegrace in the steeple was evidently exerting himself to the utmost. Every now and then one might catch a glimpse of the scoundrel through the smoke. There he sat, in the belfry, upon the belfryman, who was lying flat upon his back. In his teeth the villain held the bell-rope, which he kept jerking about with his head, raising such a clatter that my ears ring again to even think of it. On his lap lay the big fiddle, at which he was scraping, out of all time and tune, with both hands, making a great show, the nincompoop of playing Judy O'Flanagan and Paddy O'Rafferty. Affairs being thus miserably situated, I left the place in disgust, and now appeal for aid to all lovers of correct time and fine crowd.
let us proceed in a body to the borough and restore the ancient order of things in Vondervottemitis by ejecting that little fellow from the steeple.
Okay, you know, that was just weird. That was, you know, I don't know, okay, one second. You know, I'm going to look this up. Wiki, the devil in the belfry. I'm just going to look this story up because there's got, I must know what it means. Okay, it's a satirical short story. Okay, so I got that much right. Okay. In an isolated, isolated town, Vondervottemitis. Oh, I've been saying it wrong too. Okay, here's the Wikipedia link for those who want to. Okay, I was saying the name of the town wrong. Paste and go. Here's a Wikipedia link. Anyone who wants to look it up real fast. Okay, Vondervottemitis. That's the name of the town. Vondervottemitis. Wonder what time it is. Vondervottemitis. The punctilious inhabitants seem to be concerned with nothing but clocks and cabbage. This methodical, boring, and quiet little borough is devastated by the arrival of a devilish figure playing a big fiddle who comes straight down from a hill, goes into the bell tower, brutally attacks the belfryman, and rings 13 o'clock to the horror of the town's inhabitants. Okay. This is published in 1839, by the way. The devil character can be seen as the bringer of chaos to an ordered system. In the context of the story, the devil is a troublemaker who destroys the serenity of tradition. Yeah, okay. However, in that Poe mocks the town's ridiculous traditions, it can be interpreted that the devil is a violent force of change, originality, and creativity in an otherwise stagnant environment. Okay? That's kind of... Okay, some have claimed the story to be political satire, making fun of the United States President Martin Van Buren, who was of Dutch descent, like the inhabitants of Vondervottemitis. However, aside from Dutch caricatures used for humor, the story does not seem to mock any particular target. In a companion to Poe's studies, it is noted Poe introduced numerous details to make contemporaries think of the president, but the story is not therefore a political satire, for Poe said such stories hit out in all directions. Moreover, Poe's literary play, his pleasure at creating connections, seems more important than is any single target of satire. It's compared to another piece written by Washington Irving, best known for The Headless Horseman. There are adaptations. Interesting. All right. Okay, that makes a little more sense now, the name of the town, Vondervottemitis. Okay. Very good. Okay, so there we go. That was about. It's up there about games. What's going on? Yeah. I mean, all the houses were identical. All the children were identical, even to the tune of just being like miniature fathers, right down to their pipes and the clothing, except the fathers were just bigger. Every garden had the exact same amount of cabbages growing. Everything could only be decorated. Yeah, they're only interested in, and nothing ever changed. Nothing ever changed. Had the exact same routine every day. And I guess, well, here's the thing, but the way that it ends, we're just going to, I'm just thinking about it. So if the, in Bunny quote, if the devil coming in is representing not only chaos but creativity and change, like change to the status quo, breaking people out of their ruts, as it were, the people don't like that. But I'm not sure if ironically is the right word, but maybe it is. So actually, you know, I'm not going to use it because I don't know if it is the right word or not. But in order for them to, so their lives have been like just totally thrown out of order. But in order to get their lives back to order, they are going to have to be creative to come up with a plan to deal with this problem, which in itself leads on to other things. Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of an, you know, I know. I think I like it a lot better now that I understand the name of the town. That it makes a lot more sense. A lot more sense now. All right. Oh yeah, Pleasantville. Yeah, Pleasantville was a great movie. That was really good. I like that one. I haven't seen that since it came out. Saw that one in the theater. Man, that was a good movie. Really good movie. Yeah, but that was a weird one. That was a weird one. So I mean, it's almost half past the hour. Tell you what, let's pick up. We're just gonna. What can we? We're just gonna bag something real fast to end the day with. Something from maybe A Dreamer's Tales. Actually, I've done it. I think I've done all of these a couple of times. Yes, doing that. What's the other one? Not this one. That's Dreamer's Tales. The Book of Wonder. That's got good stuff in it too. Have we read The Horde of the Gibberlins? Yeah, let's do this one. The Horde of the Gibberlins. Okay, I just want to do something like a little more, less abstract. The Horde of the Gibberlins by Lord Dunsany. There we go. We're just gonna end on this. I just want to end on something where it makes a little sense, even if it is a weird fantasy kind of thing. Oh, you haven't seen it since high school. All right, yeah. But it was a great movie. Yeah, I remember the adults not liking it. Yeah, I thought it was amazing. Yeah, very good call on Pleasantville. Oh, such a good movie. All right. So here we go. This is what we're ending with. The Horde of the Gibberlins. Let me just check mail. Okay. And this will be it for sure, because we're coming up on 2.5 hours. And then I have to go, let's see, that is, oh, wow. For scale, shoot to 3. That's not happening. That's not happening. All right. Let us. Okay. We're just taking a quick little peek at other things. There's no one on Twitch or YouTube. That's okay. We're gonna keep it out there just for the next couple of weeks, just in case anyone. Just in case anyone needs a little light entertainment distraction. That kind of deal. Just that kind of deal. Just taking a couple of pages, hitting F5s here and there. Clearing my mind of wonder what time it is. Wonder what time it is. Story. You know, I'm probably not going to read that one again, to be honest, actually. It was okay, but it was just, you know, when you think Edgar Allan Poe, it's like, you know, give me my, you know, emo gothic horror. Or even just, it doesn't even have to be horror. Just like weird, moody stuff. Right. The Horde of the Gibberlins. The Gibberlins eat, as is well known, nothing less good than man. Their evil tower is joined to Terra Cognita, to the lands we know, by a bridge.
Their hoard is beyond reason. Avarice has no use for it. They have a separate cellar for emeralds and a separate cellar for sapphires. They have filled a hole with gold and dig it up when they need it. And the only use that it is known for their ridiculous wealth is to attract to their larder a continual supply of food. In times of famine, they have even been known to scatter rubies abroad, a little trail of them to some city of man. And sure enough, their larders would soon be full again. Their tower stands on the other side of that river known to Homer. Horus Oceanio, he called it, which surrounds the world. And where the river is narrow and fordable, the tower was built by the Ghibellines' gluttonous sires, for they liked to see burglars rowing easily to their steps. Some nourishment, that common soil has not the huge trees drained there with their colossal roots from both banks of the river. There the Ghibellines lived, and discreditably fed. Alderic, Knight of the Order of the City and the Assault, hereditary guardian of the king's peace of mind, a man not unremembered among makers of myth, pondered so long upon the Ghibellines' hoard that by now he deemed it his. Alas, that I should say of so perilous a venture, undertaken at dead of night by a valorous man, that its motive was sheer avarice. Yet upon avarice only the Ghibellines relied to keep their larders full, and once in every 100 years sent spies into the cities of men to see how avarice did, and always the spies returned again to the tower, saying that all was well. It may be thought that as the years went on and men came by fearful ends on that tower's wall, fewer and fewer would come to the Ghibellines' table. But the Ghibellines found otherwise. Not in the folly and frivolity of his youth did Alderic come to the tower, but he studied carefully for several years the manner in which burglars met their doom when they went in search of the treasure that he considered his. In every case, they had entered by the door. He consulted those who gave advice on this quest. He noted every detail, and cheerfully paid their fees, and determined to do nothing that they advised, for what were their clients now? No more than examples of the savory art, and mere half-forgotten memories of a meal, and many, perhaps, no longer even that. These were the requisites for the quest that these men used to advise: a horse, a boat, mail armor, and at least 3 men-at-arms. Some said, "Blow the horn at the tower door." Others said, "Do not touch it." Alderic thus decided. He would take no horse down to the river's edge. He would not row along it in a boat, and he would go alone and by way of the forest unpassable. How pass, you may say, the unpassable? This was his plan. There was a dragon he knew of, who, if peasants' prayers are heeded, deserved to die, not alone because of the number of maidens he cruelly slew, but because he was bad for the crops. He ravaged the very land, and was the bane of a dukedom. Now Alderic determined to go up against him. So he took horse and spear and pricked till he met the dragon, and the dragon came out against him, breathing bitter smoke. And to him Alderic shouted, "Hath foul dragon ever slain true knight?" And well the dragon knew that this had never been,
And he hung his head, and was silent, for he was glutted with blood. Then, said the knight, if thou wouldst ever taste maiden's blood again, thou shalt be my trusty steed. And if not, by this spear there shall befall thee all that the troubadours tell of the dooms of thy breed. And the dragon did not open his ravening mouth, nor rush upon the knight, breathing out fire, for well he knew the fate of those that did these things. But he consented to the terms imposed, and swore to the knight to become his trusty steed. It was on a saddle upon this dragon's back that Alderic afterwards sailed above the unpassable forest, even above the tops of those measureless trees, children of wonder. But first he pondered that subtle plan of his which was more profound than merely to avoid all that had been done before. And he commanded a blacksmith, and the blacksmith made him a pickaxe. Now there was great rejoicing at the rumor of Alderic's quest, for all folk knew that he was a cautious man, and they deemed that he would succeed and enrich the world, and they rubbed their hands in the cities at the thought of largesse, and there was joy among all men in Alderic's country, except perchance among the lenders of money who feared they would soon be paid. And there was rejoicing also because men hoped that when the Ghibellines were robbed of their hoard, they would shatter their high-built bridge and break the golden chains that bound them to the world, and drift back, they and their tower, to the moon, from which they had come, and to which they rightly belonged. There was little love for the Ghibellines, though all men envied their hoard. I'm afraid, Rose Morales, I'm afraid that in Lord Dunsany's world, dragons are obligated to gobble up the maidens. Only a knight. Only a knight can have a dragon. An ice dragon. I don't know if there are ice dragons here, and if they have differing tastes than the regular dragons. Oh, Q-Tip's got a dragon. All right. Lightning's back. Hey, man. Good to see you. All right. Okay, so they all cheered that day when he mounted his dragon, as though he was already a conqueror. And what pleased them more than the good that they hoped he would do to the world was that he scattered gold as he rode away. For he would not need it, he said, if he found the Ghibellines' hoard. And he would not need it more if he smoked on the Ghibellines' table. When they heard that he had rejected the advice of those that gave it, some said that the knight was mad, and others said he was greater than those that gave the advice, but none appreciated the worth of his plan. He reasoned thus. For centuries men had been well advised and had gone by the cleverest way, while the Ghibellines came to expect them to come by boat and to look for them at the door whenever their larder was empty, even as a man looketh for a snipe in a marsh. But how, said Alderic, if a snipe should sit in the top of a tree, would men find him there? Assuredly never. So Alderic decided to swim the river and not go by the door, but to pick his way into the tower through the stone. Moreover, it was in his mind to work below the level of the ocean, the river, as Homer knew, that girdles the world, so that as soon as he made a hole in the wall, the water should pour in, confounding the Ghibellines and flooding the cellars, rumored to be about 20 feet in depth, and therein he would dive for emeralds as a diver dives for pearls. And on the day that I tell of, he galloped away from his home, scattering largesse of gold, as I have said, and passed through many kingdoms. the dragon snapping at maidens as he went, but being unable to eat them because of the bit in his mouth, and earning no gentler reward than a spur thrust where he was the softest. And so they came to the swart, arboreal precipice of the unpassable forest. The dragon rose at it with a rattle of wings. Many a farmer near the edge of the world saw him up there, where yet the twilight lingered, a faint black wavering line, and mistaking him for a row of geese going inland from the ocean, went into their houses, cheerily rubbing their hands, and saying that winter was coming, and that we should soon have snow. Soon even there the twilight faded away, and when they descended at the edge of the world, it was night, and the moon was shining. Ocean. The ancient river, narrow and shallow there, flowed by and made no murmur. Whether the Ghibellines banqueted, or whether they watched by the door, they also made no murmur. And Alderic dismounted, and took his armor off, and saying one prayer to his lady, swam with his pickaxe. He did not part from his sword, for fear that he meet with a Ghibelline. Landed the other side, he began to work at once, and all went well with him. Nothing put out its head from any window, and all were lighted so that none within could see him in the dark. The blows of his pickaxe were dulled in the deep walls. All night he worked, no sound came to molest him, and at dawn the last rock swerved and tumbled inwards, and the river poured in after. Then Alderic took a stone, and went to the bottom step, and hurled the stone at the door. He heard the echoes roll into the tower, then he ran back and dived through the hole in the wall. He was in the emerald cellar. There was no light in the lofty vault above him, but diving through 20 feet of water, he felt the floor all rough with emeralds, and open coffers full of them. By a faint ray of the moon, he saw that the water was green with them, and easily filling a satchel, he rose again to the surface. And there were the Ghibellines, waist deep in the water, with torches in their hands. And without saying a word, or even smiling, they neatly hanged him on the outer wall. And the tale is one of those that have not a happy ending. And the moral of that story: stay away from Ghibellines, I guess. I love Lord Dunsany. He's just so, I don't know, he's just great. I love him. That was it. Yeah, I mean, no matter how well prepared you are, yeah. I don't know. That was a good one. I like that one. I did. But that's it. That brings us to the end of book club. Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, we will. We'll be back tomorrow. At the usual time. Okay, don't forget. So Monday through Thursday. Yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be finishing Righto Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. It's been quite the farce so far. Pretty good. So we're finishing that tomorrow, and then there'll be a couple of short stories, I'm sure, as well on top of that. I'm not sure what we're doing on Thursday. So yeah, on Monday we'll be starting a brand new novel, Whose Body? A Murder Mystery by Dorothy L. Sayers. That's going to be good. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Lady Death. Let's take a little peek at that. What does it say? Oh, I missed that. Who was top chatter? I missed it. I need to add restream bot to the that thing there. Lady Death 99, so close. Look at them embers. Rose Morales, Dougie Fresh, Tillable Cat, Desired. Thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it. It all adds up, goes into my TP fund. Yes, thank you. And a bunch of sparks too. Wow, look at them. Yeah. Nice. I like that. I do. And them stickers. I'm very happy that hang on, where'd my waffle sticker? My waffle sticker didn't show up at all. I know people were using that. Yeah, the counts are all off on these. All off. And a bunch of hosts. Yeah. Yeah, that's that's well, you gotta have targets, gotta have goals. Good night, McGlenn. Good seeing you again. Not today. Not today. But there we go. So thank you very much. Thank you for everyone for the embers, for sparks, for the new follows. Thank you, Lady Death. Shadowtronics was here earlier. I think he might have faded, but that's all good. Thank you, Lady Death. Thank you for keeping an eye on Twitch there. I know no one's over on Twitch, but you never know. Never can tell. Oh, there was no waffle. I'm sure someone must have thrown down waffle stickers. I'm sure that. Yeah. So oh no, maybe they didn't. Maybe I'm wrong. Alright, I'll be back later. Tonight's games, in case anyone's wondering, we'll be starting with Batman, The Enemy Within. Then probably switching over to Gears for a bit. Today's what? Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. All the games tonight going to be of the rated M variety. I'm doing this for a reason now. Oh, actually, yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But that's it. I'm going to take a so in the meantime, I got to get some work done. That includes going into the studio. I'm going to be recording more of the Edgar Allan Poe experiment. I started recording that the other day. I'm going to be recording more of those stories, and I need to do a little something for Lightning as well. So I'm going to get that done, and then back for some gaming later in the evening. In the meantime, everyone, don't forget, wash your hands, because your hands are filthy. Where have they been? I don't want to know where your hands have been. But wash them. Wash them. Lots. Stay inside. Don't be a typhoid Mary. And, yeah. It's going to suck for the next couple of weeks. It really is going to suck. But we're going to pull on through. We're going to do it. We're going to have a great time. And don't forget, if you're on social media, if you're enjoying the stream, please feel free to share the stream with your friends. The book club stuff is mainly what I mean. And let them know if you like it, what you like about it, and maybe they'll start tuning in too. And but yeah, because I know especially in the next couple of weeks, people are going to need a lot of additional. Yeah. There we go. That would, if you need something to wake you up, that'll do it. Very dramatic. There we go. And Lightning FNC, of course, is going to be playing some Minecraft because that's what he does. Alrighty. Okay, I will. I'll see you guys.